was hoping that we're going to be able to switch camera around. I know it's a little bit dark. I'm in the shade. It's sunny out. Um, but today we're doing edible plants around my yard. Um, Hopefully you enjoy this. I've never done anything like this, so hopefully everything pans out. I also have a cold, so I really don't want you all to see me because I'm dripping. uh, so I'm going to switch vision on you so that you don't have to see me, and we'll start talking about plants. Okay, so first off, we are in the back portion of the yard, and the species that we want to look at is actually right here, except you can't see that. It's actually right here. That is Spring Beauty, and it is a little white flower, and they only last for a certain time of the year, and after that, the plant goes dormant. I've never harvested this plant, um, basically because we don't have a super lot of it. But the bulb, the little corm that it has, can be cooked and eaten like a potato. We also right now have a whole lot of honeybees around, also woodpeckers, if you can hear that, uh, flying around. Let me show you another plant that right now is in flower. Oh, you can't see it there. That is ground ivy. This is sort of a medicinal plant. It can be used to make tea, but again, it's a medicinal plant. It has little purplish flowers. They can be eaten. Um, Not eaten, but they can be used for tea. It's also was used to flavor beer way back in the day, and it has a very different smell to it. So let's move on and find our next plant. Unfortunately, with lives, I can't switch between um stuff. So this plant right here, I believe, maybe not. You know what? I don't want to do that because I don't know for sure. But I know this one for sure. So this is wild blackberry. It doesn't look like much right now, but it will have flowers eventually as well as fruit. And you can use the leaves, I believe, for tea, as well as, of course, the berries are edible. This is violets. With violets, you can cook the leaves when they're young. There's one of our, there's a bee somewhere. There he is. We're going to let them do their thing. Another edible plant that you probably have in your yard is dandelion. Now, dandelion has the flower that is edible. You can eat the leaves. They're best when they're younger. They get a little bit bitter as they get older. Um, Now, eating any edible plants, you want to make sure that if you're eating from your yard that you're not putting out pesticides, because if you do that, you're going to poison yourself. So don't do that. Um, yeah. Also, I also want to add that You can be allergic to plants, clearly. So don't poison yourself. Hello, Carol. So don't poison yourself when you're out. And if you are going to eat edible plants, know what you're eating, because the wrong move can poison you and will make you sick. Another edible that actually is really close by is dead nettle. And dead nettle is a mint. It's in the mint family. You can eat it raw, you can eat it cooked. I should have brought a tissue. As you can see, it also has real pretty flowers. It has a purplish top. You can eat it raw or cooked. It's probably better cooked, to be honest. I have tried it, and it's not the best flavor. But, yeah, moving on to our next prize. I talked about cooking the violet leaves. Right now, the violet flowers are in full force. You can make a syrup out of these. You can use them for decorating. You can make candied violets out of them. So yeah, violets are edible, and yes, you can eat them. Another plant that I want to highlight is this. Now, this is not a native plant. This is garlic mustard. And you can eat this, and if you have it in your yard, again, if you don't spray, this is a great plant for you to eat. Carol, are you here? Because I'm not showing up anybody as being in here. We're going to move now to another part of the yard just to see what we can see. I'm trying to keep the camera down so that we're not getting neighbors' houses or people that might be visiting. Okay, awesome. I found our next plant. This is chickweed. This is a spinach. Or not a spinach, but you can eat it like a spinach. And you can cook this, put it into a salad. Pretty good. And it's slow growing. It does have flowers that open up. The flowers, I think, are white. I know they're white. I know they're white. But I can't stress enough that you do need to be careful when you're in your yard eating stuff, because eating the wrong stuff can and will make you sick. Another plant that is edible, though right now this one probably isn't really going to help you out any. This is box elder. This is in the maple family, and you can collect sap from it if you know what you're doing. So there's that. I gotta keep this close to the ground. We're gonna see if we can find over here. So that little beauty right there, I'm not gonna touch it. That is stinging nettle, and believe it or not, right now is a great time to eat it. It is edible. Once it's cooked, you no longer have to worry about getting stung, because cooking it kills the stuff that makes you sick. Or the stuff, it doesn't make you sick, but it destroys the chemicals that sting you. Guys, I have to stop what I'm doing for a minute because I have some 4-legged friends, or 8-legged friends, I should say, who got into my dad's pool that he's going to use. There you go, buddy. I can't stand seeing animals suffer. Another plant that is edible is dock. So dock is also edible, but you have to boil it several times. It can also be used, the root can also be used to make a dye. I believe it's either yellow or brown. So it's pretty cool. It's one of those plants I've never tried, but it is there if, if something happens and I don't have any other food to eat. Lots of woodpeckers around this year. I don't see anything over here that sticks out. So we'll move on. Just hoping we'd have a lot more people coming in today. But I will say hello to those that are. Now we do have some fruit trees. We have 2 apples. Or we have an apple and a pear, as well as a cherry. But we don't harvest the cherry because the flowers are way too high. So it does not get harvested. We also have black walnut, which right now, unfortunately, the black walnut isn't big enough to produce nuts, but it is there. Good. Glad to hear it. Always nice to have technology that is actually working. We're going to move up front and check out some plants that are up front. And I have way more garlic mustard than I thought I had. Okay. Carol, did you get to see the garlic mustard? If not, I will move back so you can see it. But for now, I'm looking for those things that are edible that I haven't covered yet. And for those of you wondering, yes, I am sick. And yes, after I'm done with this, I am going to bed. Oh, yeah, I'm just walking right now. So there's not much to see. Okay, so this doesn't look like much. I get that. But the large leaves that you see, this stuff, this is daylily. Now, daylily is controversial because supposedly it does cause cancer, or could cause cancer. But the flowers are edible. You can deep fry them. You can boil the unopened flower buds, use them like green beans. And the tubers can also be eaten. I also have something really cool growing amongst these plants, actually. Let's see if it'll pick up. So this This is wild onion. Wild onion is very strong. Tea from the daylily? Is that what you're asking? I don't know. There are plants that you can make tea out of that grow in the yard, but I don't know if daylily is used for that. I can look it up later. So this is wild onion or wild garlic, and a wild garlic or wild onion is very strong. And when I say very strong, I mean it is super strong, and it doesn't take much. Now, also growing out here, and I'm only going to show this because I want people being safe. This is not wild onion. Do you see that white stripe going down the middle? That is Star of Bethlehem. It is not a wild onion. It doesn't smell like a wild onion. If you find a plant and you think it might be a wild onion or a wild garlic, crush the leaves. That's the best way to know right there. Just crush up the leaves. If they smell like wild onion, you got wild onion. It's not really you don't have to be super smart on that one. So way down in here, that is elderberry. Some things say that you have to cook elderberry in order to eat it. And you probably should, just be safe, because you don't want to get sick. But you can use it to make pies. These, of course, are not big enough to do that. But given time, they would get big enough that you could eat the berries once they're cooked. You can make them out of pies. But the fruit has to be ripe, and otherwise you're going to poison yourself. And you don't want to do that. So, stuff to remember if you're going to eat it. Another plant that we have on the property is this guy. This is wild strawberry. They are not in bloom yet. But wild strawberry, I believe you can make tea out of it. And you can also, of course, eat the fruit. Now, wild strawberries do not get very big, but they are some of the best, not the best wild fruit, but pretty close to it. This might end up being a short live because either that or I'm going to forget stuff. Already talked about dandelions, but I'll talk about them again. Again, just to bring it home, if you spray for weeds or for insects, please do not eat your plants because it'll make you sick. And know what you're eating before you eat it. The blossoms are edible. The leaves are edible when they're young, and the root is edible. I think that is just about it. I was hoping we'd have more people. Because this is a fun live, at least for me. I do have one more plant that I want to show off, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Except it's not really showing up. So this is a mint. I believe it's either spearmint or peppermint. It likes its feet wet. It can be a bit invasive, but you can make tea out of it. You can make salad dressing out of it, which is really, really good, by the way. Again, know what you're eating. Mints, by the way, if you want to know what you're eating, mints have a square stem. So that's a clue. Plus, it'll smell like mint. It'll have a good minty smell to it. Yeah, dandelions are good, but they can be a little bitter. So those are basically these spring edibles that we have in the yard. I told you we do have black walnuts. We have a tree in my neighbor's yard. That's what they look like. They look like a pig's snout. And they're very hard to get into. You can eat them. Yeah, me too. In fact, those were taken from a spot down the street from me that was taken out to build houses. So, yeah. So this is black walnut. Interesting fact about black walnut is it produces a toxin that keeps other trees from growing around it. This is white clover or red clover, but it is edible. A lot of the flour out of. You can dry the flowers, and grind them up and make. Um, yeah, you can make stuff out of them. Mainly, you can do flour. Now over here somewhere, probably covered up. Probably destroyed. No, right there. Oops. Right there. This is evening primrose. And I believe on evening primrose, the root is edible. The first or second year, they form a rosette, and that's how you can tell them apart. Daffodils are not edible. You would make yourself sick. Definitely do not eat daffodils. Daffodils and narcissus both are toxic. Just because you have a lot of it growing around your house, best to avoid it. Now, sometimes if you garden, you can get escapees, and we had that happen here. These are onions. These are called walking onions. And they're not ready to eat per se, but they're there. Okay, those are the plants. Now I'm gonna go upstairs, I think, And we're going to talk a little bit more, maybe. Maybe not. Because it was only 25 seconds. Or maybe we'll just sit outside and talk. I think we'll do that. We'll just sit outside and talk. But I'm going to set this so that you're not looking at me because I am a mess. Right, today I forgot to bring tissues out, so I'm really a mess. I was hoping more people would be here, but I guess not. I'm going to try my very, very best to make sure that lives are posted, hopefully a week in advance. But I need to lay down after this, and I need to take a nap. We do have some cool lives coming up. Tuesday's live is poisons in the ecosystem. I still have to research that one out. If I don't have that done by the time it is time to go live, we'll switch it out. Maybe we'll do trivia that day, maybe we won't. We are doing Friday's live. Friday's live, I think, is Buffalo. The schedule is posted on the channel in the community page. It's also posted on the Facebook page. So it is there if you're interested. There are a lot of plants. I think we did 10 different edible plants that are up right now. That goes up once the raspberries are up. And that also goes up if we are lucky and get blackberries. I did cover a few plants that maybe you didn't get to see. And that's okay. You can rewatch. But they're pretty cool as well. That sounds like English house sparrows. Could be a robin. I can't tell right now. But yeah. Let me just go over again really quick. Rules for foraging. Make sure that if you're going to try to forage for yourself and your family, that you have somebody that you know knows plants. Make sure that you and they have the plant properly identified, because you don't want to get sick, and some plants can really make you sick. Second thing, if you spray, or if you live in an area where, like, you're in an HOA and they maintain property, find out before you harvest, because you don't want to make yourself sick. Secondly, do not harvest any plants around roads, because even though we don't use unleaded gasoline, that lead could still be in the soil, and that could end up taken up into plants. So be wary of that. Is there anything else? Some plants do have poisonous lookalikes, so be mindful of that. You don't want to be harvesting Queensland lace only to end up with poison hemlock. Although, once you smell poison hemlock, you're probably not going to be eating it, because poison hemlock smells like mice pee, rodent pee to me. It's pretty bad smelling, so don't do that. But basically, if you're going to do that, enjoy yourself. You're not going to make yourself super sick if you're eating just native plants. Not too bad. The other thing is, some native plants do contain oxalate, or acylic acid. Those plants, in some people, can lead to kidney stones if eaten in huge amounts. So keep that in mind too. A good ID book will tell you if the plant is poison, if it contains that. I'm trying to think right offhand. Sorrel will have it. Yellow, the common yellow sorrel has it. Wood sorrel will have it. And there are others. So if you're eating those plants and you have a history of kidney stones, maybe avoid eating them, or don't eat them in any big amounts. Oh, and that's the other thing. If you are gonna try eating edible plants, the first time that you eat it should be a test, meaning you just want to take a small bite or a small amount, because if it does make you sick, then at least you haven't eaten a ton of it. Again, people's bodies are different, so what might be okay for you may not be okay for somebody else. Any questions? If you are watching this later and you do have questions, feel free to message me. I don't have a problem with that at all. So just let me know. It's a little bit weird to be talking and going live and not seeing my face on the screen. But, yeah. Since I'm sick and feeling pretty gross, I don't want you to see me. So with that, I'm going to let you go a little bit early today so I can have a nap. But thank you for coming out. I will see you Tuesday night for live. Have a good one, everybody.